The issue that I have chosen to follow is the case of Kathleen Sebas versus the Hobby Lobby that will be heard in front of the Supreme Court within the next couple months. The editorial in which I have chosen to respond to was written by James Langford, a Republican from Oklahoma who represents the 5th District where the Green family lives. The Greens are the owners and creators of the chain store Hobby Lobby. They are a devout Christian family that has always followed their faith and has allowed their faith to influence their day-to-day operation of their stores. As of 2013, the Green family had to make the conscientious decision to follow their faith or adopt the newly instated healthcare initiative under the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare. The issue regarding this new mandate lies within the requirement of employers being held responsible for full contraceptive coverage in their health insurance plans. The Green family is filing suit with the Supreme Court seeking relief from paying a daily fine of $100 per day per person, which is now amounting to over $1.3 million, for refusing to violate their biblical views on life regarding contraceptives. Langford went on to state that the mandate is demanding that ordinary Americans bend to the administration's religious preferences, and that the fines relating to the Affordable Care Act are proof of the Act's true priorities. For example, a business can pay $2,000 per person per year to not provide health insurance at all, or a business can pay $36,500 per person per year fine to provide health insurance that quote, does not align with the president's religious preferences. He also provided a statistic from the Alliance Defending Freedom stating that 59% of voters oppose the HHS mandate overall, including 54% of women. James Langford concluded his editorial by saying that this intrusive federal mandate will set a precedent of government intervention in determining who the faithful are, what faith is, and where, when, and how the faith may be lived out. In response to Mr. Langford's claims that religious liberty should trump the Obamacare mandate, I am not able to concur with his position. The HHS mandate does not violate the First Amendment right to freedom of religion nor the Free Exercise Clause. The First Amendment explicitly states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Within the First Amendment, one can find the Free Exercise Clause that reserves the right of American citizens to accept any religious belief and engage in religious rituals. Nowhere in the First Amendment does it say that it's unconstitutional in regards to religious freedom for the United States government to create a national health care plan that includes birth control and contraceptive measures. Nor is there any governmental preference of religion reflected in the act itself. Langford then stated that the Greens agree with birth control, but due to religious purposes cannot accept emergency contraceptives such as Plan B. Upon examining Plan B, one will find that it is not much different than a normal birth control pill in terms of its effects. The active ingredient in Plan B is a synthetic form of the hormone progestin that has been used in birth control pills for over 35 years now. The only difference in the two is that the amount of hormone is higher than that of regular birth control pills. Plan B acts primarily by stopping the release of an egg from an ovary, just as regular birth control pills do. It is not the same as RU-486, which is a prescription drug for a medical abortion. Many doctors and even the FDA do not describe Plan B one-step as an abortion pill, but as an emergency contraceptive. Also, to refute his point that one will end up paying a large amount of fees for providing health insurance that does not align with the president's religious preferences, President Obama practices Christianity just as the Greens do. For most of the last 2,000 years, Christian churches have been against artificial birth control. Protestant attitude towards birth control began to change in the 19th century as people became more willing to accept that morality should come from the conscience of the individual rather than forced from outside teachings. Protestant churches concluded that the use of birth control often leads to stronger families and better marriages. There are a number of passages that can be found in the Bible that also accept that sex should be enjoyed for reasons other than the production of children. In regards to the statistic provided by the Alliance Defending Freedom survey, it shows that 59% of the respondents oppose the HHS mandate, but they do not provide who voted or how many people were actually surveyed. The Alliance Defending Freedom is a servant ministry building an alliance to keep the door open for the spread of the gospel by transforming the legal system and advocating for religious liberty, the sanctity of life, and marriage and family. The organization that created the survey is already compromised by having bias towards religious freedom, therefore misleading the readers of Mr. Langford's editorial to believe that the population surveyed was that of the general public. Steve Leisman, writer for NBC News, published an article stating that a solid majority of people oppose defunding the new healthcare law known as Obamacare, essentially stating that they want the healthcare reform to stay. The CNBC All-American Economic Survey of 800 people across America, conducted by Hart and McIntyre, found that in general, Americans oppose defunding Obamacare with a plurality of 44% to 38%. The United States stands as the single industrialized nation whose citizens are not guaranteed the right to health care, resulting in 45 million uninsured individuals. The tradition of religious freedom in the United States is one of the founding ideals of this country. But as our framers envisioned it, religious freedom referred to a right to practice one's own religion, free of interference from others. It did not refer to religiously based interference with the rights of others who may have their own and different religious differences and traditions. It's time to separate religion and medical care, and the place to begin is with the birth control mandate. If your religion teaches you that the use of birth control is a sin, no one can force you to use it. But your belief, no matter how strongly held, does not give you the power to make the decisions for others, especially when those decisions are of an intimate and personal nature. Religious freedom is an important principle in America, and it must be applied fairly. We simply cannot have a healthcare system where workers' rights are held hostage to their employers' religious beliefs.